I wanted to read this article. It's about the mythology, the symbolism of this creature that has many eyes, sometimes in the face, sometimes all over the body. Sometimes this creature is depicted as wings with eyes. Sometimes it's just an eyeball and it has concentric circles that spin around this eyeball, and these circles are themselves riddled with eyes. They are seeing in all directions, almost like a gyroscope. This symbolism is present all over the world. It is a universal symbol, depicted differently. So I'm going to read this article. It will go through many cultures. I'm not specifically, talking about one culture. No, I'm talking about the symbolism of it. You can interpret it the way you want. I'm also going to write somewhere in the description or in the comments, I'm going to write some of these keywords so you guys can click, copy and paste and check it out. There's images, and videos spread all over the internet, so you can have a visual aid. So the title is Le corps parsemé des yeux, the body covered with eyes. Professor Raphael Pettazzoni, informative discussion on certain divinities as many-eyed or covered with eyes, shows that this symbolism is of almost universal distribution and very ancient. He rightly recognizes that the symbolism is connected to the idea of omnipresence and the omniscience of God. Our understanding of the symbolism can nevertheless be carried much farther and explained in connection with the whole doctrine of the Spirit and of light. In the first place, let us remark that all of the divine forms under discussion are solar. This is sufficiently evident in the cases of Argus, Purusa, Indra, Mithra, Horus, and Christ. That Argus functions as a cowherd recalls the designation of Indra and the sun as Gopati in the Riga Veda and Mahabharata, and the more so if we remember that the earth in Vedic tradition is a cow. The tetromorphs of cherubim of Ezekiel, with their many eyes, are connected with the spirit and with light, and are evidently four aspects, reflexes, or powers of the glory of the God of Israel above them. They are represented in Christian art in the form of a man with many wings and three accessory heads, those of an ox, a lion, and an eagle, represented by Protomas in an arrangement closely resembling that of the nimbus of the solar deity at this archaeological site called Doktar I Noshirwan, where, however, the eagle occupies the center and the number of the animal protomas is doubled. I will post links so you can see the pictures. As regards Satan, it is more than doubtful whether it is Satan as much and not rather Lucifer in the proper sense of this name that is intended by the angel of death. In the Babylonian Talmud, for death is one of the highest names of God that both quickens and slays, separates and unifies, and is always identified in Vedic tradition with the sun and spirit. As regards Christ, it may be observed that the 7 eyes of the apocalyptic lamb, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth, corresponds to the 7 gifts of the Spirit, as well as to the 7 rays of the sun, so often referred to in the Vedic tradition. The 7 eyes of the Lamb are represented in Christian art in the head and not on the body. For example, in the dome of the church of Saint Clement of Tehulah, Spain. On a side note, in the Catalan painting, the lamb has 3 eyes on one side of the nose and 4 eyes on the other. The Irish solar hero Cuchulainn had either 7 pupils in each eye. According to another version, 4 pupils in one eye and 3 in the other. Saint Columcille, Saint Columcille's pupil, his apprentice, called Baithin, is said to have had 7 pupils in each eye. Later references are taken from Mr. McAllister's book, The Goddess of Death in the Bronze Age Art, and the traditions of Ireland. So continuing, in this church of Saint Clement the Tehulah, here the lamp is found in the circle that corresponds to the solar eye of the dome, where the Pantact Krator is more often seen. The connection of the eyes with the spirit and with light provides us the key to the meaning of the symbolism elsewhere. Once we have recognized that the eyes are those of the Son of Men, the light of light, and the Son in the spiritual essence of all that is, once we have understood that light is progenitive. On a side note, for this reason, the highest deities are also gods of fertility. In the Navajo mythology, virgins are referred to as non-sunstruck girls. And this is another aspect of the divine omniscience. For the erotic significance of the verb to know is a very old one. God is the master of all generative power. The solar deity being 1,000-eyed, each eye implying a ray, and because light is the progenitive power, 1,000-eyed, 1,000-rayed, and 1,000-membered are equivalent concepts, and Sayana rightly interprets the Riga Veda. These considerations explain the traditional connection of the phallus with the flame. The flamboyant character of the linga is also quite evident in public worship. The solar flame, the very essence, the tegas being the sex organ. So let's return. Where was I? Kind of lost my track. Oh, yeah, there it is. Once we have understood that light is progenitive, that the sun's many rays are his sons, that he fills these worlds by division of his essence. Although remaining undivided, i.e., a total presence amongst divided things, being thus one in himself and many in his children, and that he is connected to each of these children by the ray or thread of the pneumatic light on which their life depends. It will not be difficult to understand how it is that the light of lights, who is himself the one eye of all the gods, the Varuna eye, must also appear to our iconographic faculty to be many-eyed. For while the divine omniscience is not derived from objects external to itself, but from their ideas, composing the world picture painted by the Spirit on the canvas of the Spirit, so that the vision of all that is in time or space, as if in a mirror, constitutes a single act of being. Apart from time, we cannot thus represent it to ourselves. From the standpoint of our multiplicity, the sun is central to a cosmic sphere, to the boundaries of which its innumerable rays extend in every direction, so that the darkness is filled with light. And if these rays are spoken of as 1,000, it is because 1,000 means everything. And it is by means of these rays that he knows the expressed forms to which they extend. If we recall the traditional theory of vision, we shall understand that every one of these rays implies an eye or a pupil from which it proceeds, and an eye to which it extends and through which it passes. For in this theory, vision is by means of a ray of light projected from the eye, and it is rather he that sees us than we the ones that see. God, in terms of human concept, verbal or visual, is therefore Argos, the Argos-eyed, because he sees all things. Indra is preeminently the 1,000-eyed, and Indra art though the mortal worshippers. That is, conceptually, but in reality, not what men worship here. We are reminded of this by the fact it is one being that has many eyes, the number depending upon our point of view and not upon the being itself, who is the eye. On a side note, that ray of his becoming sight present in all his children, whoever sees, it is by means of his rays that he sees. He whose outlook is through beings, and thus appropriates the objects of perception. Plato, Timaeus. And Rumi, with reference to the Quran, corresponds almost verbally. Plutarch, Osiris the many-eyed, Hesiod works and days, the eye of Zeus that sees everything, the all-seeing, the thousand-eyed. This is present all over. Mithra, of thousand eyes, of thousand spies, the all-knowing. Varuna, the thousand-eyed spies look over the earth. O Agni, the thousand-eyed, the sole God who has eyes on all sides, he of the thousand eyes. So this mythology is present all over the place. Like it says in the text here, although he remains undivided amongst the divided beings, and being thus one in himself and many in his children. You see, the one divided itself into the many to experience individuality. So why the eye? Light, or should I say illumination, enters the eye. It bounces around the eye, and then it's transmitted to the brain. And it is in the brain, or should I say in consciousness, that we see the lines, that we see the contrast, we see the red and the blue, we see the yellow, we see all the colors, because they have to be contrasted against the darkness. See, illumination, or should I say light, hits the canvas, the darkness, and it is only with this contrast that we are able to see the material world. You see, it's almost like the hologram, projected on the canvas. There has to be something to contrast it. Otherwise, you would only see the illumination, and you weren't able to perceive any shapes, any forms. You was not able to perceive mass, magnitude, time, and space. Everything was white, pitch white. So it has to be projected in something that is then contrasted. See. So yeah, I think I'm gonna shut up now. Tell me what you guys think. Have a nice day.